Scott. Hi, Jamie. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, Andy. It is
All
Thursday.
right.
Tomorrow is
Oh,
Friday.
yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I got big jobs number tomorrow. We'll see what kind of impact they have. But I tell you why I'm really excited because we have a huge percentage of our viewers, the attendees here that are kicking tires and checking out. They do not have a subscription to Trade Ideas. And the reason I'm excited is because I am going to devote a good portion of this webinar to showing you the product and some of the basics and how easy it is to use. It can be daunting at times. It's a very powerful product, but I also want to show you how simplistic it can be out of the box. So that I'll save that toward the latter part of the show. But let's move forward. And before we do, let's go over our little disclaimer to make all the lawyers content. Once again, folks, we are uh, publishers of content. Okay, this is for educational purposes only. Okay, we're not. It's not to be construed as investment advice. If that's what you're seeking, you might want to find a broker, a licensed broker, or an RIA, somebody who is qualified. What we are qualified to do is show you some really cool technology and some alerts and scans and some tools that can really help you profit in the marketplace. So with that being said, let's move forward and kind of go through our agenda for today. And what we're going to talk about, we're going to go over the market like we always do, the market recap. And then we're going to talk about Holly. Holly had a very good day in a pretty much a sideways sloppy market. Holly had some really nice calls today, so we will isolate on a few of those. Jamie's good about breaking those down. I'll let him take the controls at that point. And we'll probably spend, a good 15 at least minutes on that because there is a lot to talk about in Holly today. And then I'll move over to TI, Trade Ideas out of the box. And I'm going to show you how to use Trade Ideas because I know a lot of you guys are in here and going to be going to the open house for the first time. I'm not sure, but Scott has been known to give you access on the Sunday night before. So if that's the case, and you do download the product, I want you to be able to fire it up before Monday. So I'm going to show you little tips on what to do, and I think you're going to find that it is user friendly once you get past a lot of the bells and whistles, and you can make it as complex as you want to, but it can be very simple in its simplest form. So we're going to talk about that, and then also we're going to spend a little bit of time just showing you how to build an alert. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time there because that gets a little bit more advanced, but nonetheless you'll see the ease in which you can do that. And then I will set some price alerts for you on using my pullback above 50 SMA swing trading, position trading alert, I like to call it. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to today. I think you guys are going to find some neat stuff here. All right, Jamie, let's just move forward now into the market recap here. And what we always do is we like to start out with the spiders because the spiders consist of 500 stocks that with certain market caps, and I don't have to say too much about it, and everybody pretty much in here is familiar with the SPY. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the Qs, the diamonds. I'm finding something interesting here. I drew this trend line in the spiders about actually when I had 2 points here. I had this point and I had that point is when I drew it, and you can see right now it's holding true to form. So we keep coming down to this trend line, bouncing. Today we got close there. So that may be an area to watch out for. It's not a really well, I shouldn't say that. It is pretty defined. I mean, you have several points like that. It keeps bouncing off of it. It's pretty defined. So if a break below that, you may watch out for a move down, possibly to this horizontal line where we bounced last time. But for the most part, we're setting up here, and a lot of people could say this is a bullish flag. So, but I don't like to see one right after it went to high because you kind of broke out of it there and came right back in. So, Really, we're in no man's land. We got the jobs number tomorrow. I'm not sure what kind of impact, it's going to have. Uh, this market has just been one that just keeps wants to bulldozing higher, and so time will tell. And I always say it's not our job to guess, but to react. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Nonetheless, we are kind of building ourselves into a little flag here. If you don't look at that, but other than that, Jamie, you got the diamonds here, which are, and I noticed my latency is getting up there. I'm not sure why, but diamonds kind of in no man's land, right in the middle of its range it's had for about 2 months. Qs. Pretty much holding up the strongest, I'll pull up IWM in the morning, but that's probably the strongest of them all. Of course, you had Apple's, earnings, and then Facebook, although Facebook didn't do a whole lot. But the Qs are holding up the best right now. But I don't want to spend a lot of time on this today because we have a lot to cover, and there's just not a whole lot to talk. Jamie, you have anything you want to add, as far as the market goes?
Nope. Andy, I think you're right on the money. It just seems like we're kind of settling into another little range here. Today was nothing special when you're just looking at the overall indices, more or less, and that's why it's going to be really interesting when we take a peek at Holly, because looking at the little seesaw with razor blades that was the SPY today. How do you make any sense out of that? But the statistical model showed us something really special today. And just as you and I were discussing before the webinar started, if you know where to look, there was a lot of buying going on today. But not to get too far ahead of myself just yet.
Well, I tell you what, Jamie, why don't we go ahead and move over there? Because, like I said, I don't have. There's not a whole lot to say about the market. It looks like we were just the last 4 days. We just kind of been vacillating back and forth, getting ready for the jobs numbers. So why not just flip it over to you, and you talked a little bit about Holly.
Sounds like a plan. And Steve W., I see your question, and of course that's what we're going to be talking about right now is Holly's results for today. All right, so I think, have I been given the baton yet? Okay.
It's heading that way, it looks like.
Just let me know when I pop up over there, Andy.
There you are.
Okay. All right, so let me just make sure that everybody can see what I'm looking at here. So Holly, today, textbook of what you hope a statistical model will look like on a day like today. Now, for those of you who are regular with the webinars, you know that, well, I'll tell you what, before we progress into the trade-by-trade blow here, let's just pull over a performance chart real quick here. Bear with me 1 second. All right. This is where you kick in the elevator music, Andy. 1 second here. Just waiting for my page to reload. And go. All right, well, I'm not going to wait on this page to load up. When it does load up, I'll just drag it on over here. But Holly had a really banner day today. Lots of good opportunity put in front of everybody. What we're looking at right here, okay, there we go with my webpage. Thank you, Internet. So just wanted to give everybody a peek of, the yield curve that is continuing to, the distance between Holly and the SPY continues to widen. Today, very interesting day because just want to kind of revert back to this SPY chart before we take a look at Holly's trades in depth. So, prior close, gap down, shoot up, like we're going to get out of that little area, but then whoosh, right back down, back up, back down. So thus the razor blade seesaw. Now, lots of opportunity here, but also lots of statistical noise while we go up and down and up and down and up and down and not so big of a range. Most of the day could have been spent in a half-point SPY range. So on a day like today, to see the statistical model known as Holly do what she did is pretty eye-opening, and it's a perfect example of statistics in motion. So we had 10 strategies make the cut after last night's analysis, and here they are. I had 8 of them longs, 2 of them shorts. What I also like about Holly's activity today is if we kind of focus on the trades today column. This is representative of how many trades each and every strategy produced today. Sometimes we'll see 1, 2, 3 strategies doing all the firing for the day. Today we had just about every one fire, with the exception of this little guy down here, downward momentum. Even this topping formation spit out 2 short trades today. And then, of course, we can see all the other ones respectively here. But the graph over here tells the story of how the day started and how the day ended. And, you know, the reason I want to spend a little bit of time focusing on what we see here is on the risk off. In the very beginning, we can see a little bitty drawdown, and then we get positive pretty quickly. And some of the days in the past, we've seen a drawdown, and then we'll barely get positive, then we'll go back below 0 again. And, you know, as we like to hammer over and over again here, what is Holly? She's a statistical model, right? There's lots of different ways to glean information from Holly. And if we're seeing her struggle, say, in the first hour, hour and a half, going from profitability back down below again, over and over again, you know, we have to listen to what that's telling us. And that's telling us that, hey, even the statistical model, which is playing, you know, high statistical probabilities, is struggling. Then that should tell you how to temper your expectations and your activity for the day. Now, when we see it catch green pretty quickly here, and then we get a little consolidation area here, just like stock, and then we start to see more upside, that is also telling us something. That's telling us that, hey, the statistical model is the exact variables are being met, these things are firing, and they're working. So, you know, like we say all the time, Holly is this statistical person. She's actually a trader sitting next to you. She's just in the virtual world, right? So this tells the story on risk off as a whole. Of course, if you're willing to accept a little more risk, on the risk off, it was just green all the way, maybe some pullbacks. Taking a little bit more risk as a whole, well, things got a little hairy here. We went underwater and popped back up and went to new highs. And the reason I'm pointing this out is this is good information to have, you know, from many standpoints. But a lot of people get confused. They think that maybe they have to select, well, I'm going risk off or risk on, you know, before the session even starts, and then you just got to go with it. When in reality, you know, obviously all of these trades aren't appearing at once. They're coming out only when the specific criteria for that strategy is met. So, you know, we can see how frequently the trades are being generated. So, you know, we might have one pop out in the same, looks like 30 seconds here almost, same minute sometimes, but for the most part, there's plenty of lag time in between these signals to take a look at the chart. So what I'm going to do here is just sort risk on. We're going to take a look at some of these individual trades and how to address them. You know, how to interact with Holly. Well, we know Holly's this, you know, statistically sound model that's going to trade no matter what the conditions are each and every day. But how can we interact with her, right? So, of course, everybody's got different sizes of accounts. Some people may have access to large amounts of buying power, and so they're just doing, they feel compelled to do every trade so that, you know, we give the statistics plenty of time to work out. You might have a smaller account. Of course, you're going to be limited as to the number of trades that you can take, but there's something for everybody. So, for example, let's pull up Electronic Arts, and the strategy was bouncers that produced Electronic Arts today. So, of course, when we double-click here on our intraday chart, it's automatically going to have these arrows where the price action was. So we can see 81.67 here. Here's the blue entry box where Holly called the long on this one. So we'll just we'll draw a line across here for easy reference. Make this chart a little bit larger. So we can see right here is where Holly, called the buy. And sometimes they work immediately. This one, as soon as Holly calls it, maybe you interacted with her, maybe you just watched, maybe you participated. But boom, just what we like trades to do. Goes green immediately. Now, Holly, risk off. That's just Holly obeying all of her trading rules. Stop losses, profit targets, the timed holds that are assigned for each and designed around each strategy. But we can always see why Holly got out over here. And we can see she got out for a quarter winner. Entry time is over here. Here we have the exit time. So she was only in the trade for about 34 minutes. And then she got a little nervous and initiated her profit save option. We invented profit save so that Holly would not let a winner turn into a loser. Pretty fundamental part of trading there is you don't want to let your your winners turn into losers. So Holly gets out, let's see, what was that time? 8:30, which is about right here, 8:30 to 8:35 bar. So Holly plugs out here. Well, what would we do? What can you do if you're, say, in 200 shares here and, everybody's happy, we're green, we're starting to pull back, Holly gets out? Well, you can get out with Holly. You can go risk off with Holly if that's what you'd like to do, or it's always best to kind of mix it up a little bit. So for a couple of hundred from here, we see Holly getting out. Get out a half. Sell 100. Give the other one back to a flat, which would be back down here to the entry, which it kind of wiggled a little bit, but never got back down to that price. Or if you're really aggressive, maybe you actually use the stop loss that it's being recommended for you right here, which is the red box. So we set up the framework, and then once you get used to seeing these signals, and you're familiar with this framework that we're discussing right now, then your interactions with Holly should be a lot more fluid. And it's just like, Wayne Gretzky said, half the battle is showing up. Lord knows that's what got me through college back in the old days, just showing up, right? Repetition, repetition, rinse, repeat. So if we made the conscious decision to get out of half of the lot with Holly here, held on to the other half, we accepted more risk, and we got paid. Really great trade in electronic arts today. Anywhere from 25 cents to 83 cents. And of course, when the market, and I'm just going to revert back to the chart of the SPY here. It seems like that's what we're always doing. We're either running or settling into a new range. Running up, settling into a new range, which could become future support, or running down, setting up a new range, could be future resistance. But it looks to me as, we had a little volatility in here, caused this little range to be a little bit more exciting than normal. But here we are, we're popping up and coming back down. It looks kind of like, we're settling into another range. Now, are we going to have some more, volatile days like this? Maybe, maybe not. But it's interesting to see the statistical model as it gets information to work with. It's like, oh, okay, this again. Okay, well then the strategies that are showing up to the party are conducive of what we see here. Hope that makes sense. All right, so let's go to the next trade. And once again, another very good example of going risk on with Holly. We're going half and half. Risk off for the first half, risk on. Beautiful entry right here at 41.70. And this is a great example also of different patterns for different people. Because if we just go back to the EA real quick, in Holly, let's just get the arrow back up there. Obviously bouncers, it's a bottom type play, right? Some people may really dig these, other people might not like them so much. And then of course, there's something for everybody. IMPV. Holly calls it right here at 41.70. Stop loss is way down here. And this is something we see a lot on these trades, is the stop loss never even gets approached. But it's nice to know what our safety net is. If things go wrong, boom, we're out right here. But as we can see here, come down a little bit under that price. So when you see Holly initiate a position and then immediately goes underwater a little bit, then that's when I really like to, set a price alert. It may, go up and down through that price alert several times before it goes. And as long, the more I see it hug that line, the more confident I'm going to feel about that trade working. Now, here we get that nice move, but look at Holly. Profit save. In the trade for quite a while. Let's see here, 9.59 to 10.53. But she gets out for a profit save of 10 cents, and then there's another 50 cents left on the table. And all you have to do is make the same decision. I see Holly getting out. I'm going to get out a half, keep the other half. Now, you'll also start to notice different things because all of these patterns, some of them are going to be similar, some of them are not. But what I really like about this one is it's just hugging that upper range when Holly calls out her play there, or her decision. We're in the position here, it sneaks back up and then breaks that range. A nice clean range break. So this is the pattern that I like. So I'm already in it with Holly here because it's got statistical weight behind it. Then just, less than an hour later, it's popping through the range. It's breaking out of that range. That's the pattern I like. So I may add to this position here. I got statistical weight and the pattern that I like, even better. So I like to call a two-star trade from Holly. We can have 1, 2, or 3. A trade can work on one of those merits alone, but if you start stacking those merits and are able to identify them moving forward, that can really enhance your performance. All right, so let's just take a look at one more of the going risk on with Holly on this Kirk's trade right here. Nice little entry here at 4.99. Get that guy drawn there. Really nice entry here. So once again, sometimes they go right off the bat. This one just, all you had to decide is when you were going to get out. And the same methodology applies. Holly gets out for 20 cents. Risk on. Could have doubled what you made in there. Well, just a little risk management. And of course, we see these things over and over again, the easier it is to identify them. So if we take a little piece right here with Holly, and we manage to stay in it up here, look what's happening. Nice little consolidation area, goes below the radar, and we have a nice range break, a nice clean identifiable range break again. And if you get proficient at identifying these, well, there can be extra alpha hiding there for you, and it sure would have been nice to add to this trade at this level and get more. And then, of course, even one more opportunity up here towards the close. Of course, that's not perfect, but I think you get the idea. So whether it's with Holly or one of your manual windows, a lot of the times when we can identify the buyer or the seller early on, of course, people who are hardcore on the range breaks probably identified, either right here or right here as the first or second occurrence. But when you have a stock like this, lots of different levels to add on to, which is always one of the hardest things for a new trader to figure out, is adding to winners. Andy, anything to add?
Yes, very well done, Jamie. Yeah, as a matter of fact, somebody was. I saw a couple of questions fly by about risk on and risk off, and I wasn't ignoring you. I just wanted to, get to a stopping place where we can talk about it. And guys, risk on is kind of for you, and it's very simple with the platform. Basically, what it is, The risk off gives you the exits that Holly takes. Okay, so it calculates the P&L based on the exits taken by Holly. Risk on is basically will calculate them all the way to the close. So it's a way to give you an idea at the end of the day. You're doing your homework. It can actually make you a better trader. Is when you look at something like Kirk's and you see that Holly just got time stopped out of it. So the trade continued to work for Holly, but she was optimized to get out on it at a certain time. That's the way it optimized the night before. But as like Jamie was saying, as a trader, this is where you can manage the trade and say, well, Holly got out, but man, this thing is still very much intact. I don't know if I want to get out now. And you could have rode it longer. What was her exit price there? It was
on the KERX.
Yeah.
519, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, well, I can see that at least holding up, to 541, where that red bar would be tempting to get out there on that red bar. But still, the point I'm making is we added this tool to help you to stay in the trades longer. When Holly gets time stopped, when Holly gets out for profit save, you can take a look at this and take a look at the market and its peers and whatever other variables you're looking at, which if you're a good trader, you're probably looking at other variables, and decide for yourself, do I want to exit here? And like Jamie says, maybe I can exit a little bit here, but I'm going to hold the rest to see if it has more continuation to it.
That reminds me of, back in the olden days, Andy, when we actually had to go to opposites to trade, it was always kind of like a running meme or joke in there, because some of us were so quick to get out. We were always like, hey, you're really good at entries. You should just make the entries and then let me make the exits. Of course, we all joke about it and never do it.
Of course.
It's the same thing with Holly. Holly's, what's her strongest attribute? Statistically weighted entries, right? Holly can read charts, but she doesn't see them like we do. She can't read them like we do. And, it's kind of like this, if you keep up with all the computer advancements and artificial intelligence and how eventually we'll become man with machine, we aren't just going to become robots overnight. It's going to be slow. It's going to be like, well, hey, this thing's going to help keep your heart regulated, pacemakers. Oh, well, this thing's going to help keep your blood pressure down. We're slowly going to get infused with the little electronic devices that help us with our medical issues. We're not just going to wake up one night and go, oh, let's go get our brains downloaded, Andy, into our new robotic bodies, right? It's just the same thing with this technology. You can't expect a computer to just, if we could just insert all these strategies in and push the button and then count our money at the end of the day, that'd be fantastic. But I think we all know that that's idealism versus reality, right? Just like when we see a back test, we don't go, Andy, call me. I found the Holy Grail. Look, this strategy makes money every day. We're done. All we got to do is do this.
Yeah.
We know that that's not
going to last.
the market works, right?
Right.
But with Holly, you see, and we have to keep reiterating this, but Holly is the best teacher out there, all right? If you watch Holly every day, you're going to know pretty early on, within the first hour, what to expect. First and foremost, the canary in the coal mine. Has the canary keeled over and died yet? Does it look like it's gasping for breath? Is Holly ebbing and flowing right around the break-even line, going negative and positive, negative and positive? Well, if that's the case, well, then the canary is about to keel over. That should tell you as a trader, hey, I better mind my P's and Q's, and if nothing's happening, if I make a few trades and, take some small losers, then what do? We keep the powder dry for tomorrow.
Yes,
but if Holly is doing what she did today, then you know what? I better not just, load the boat on everything, but I should be fairly aggressive today on these longs because guess what? The longs are working. And a lot of the times when there's a perception of selling out there, were the indices ever real green? No, they stayed what I like to call pink all day. Weren't real red, weren't positive, they were pink, slightly down.
Yep.
But the perception was that there's more selling than buying when we all know it was just really a big gap.
Exactly, Jamie. We're getting a lot of questions, guys. So just bear with us and forgive us if we don't get to your questions. We're trying to cover as much as we can. But Holly, and I'm going to try to answer like two or three with this one comment, because a lot of people ask me, Andy, how do I trade all these trades on Holly? And this is what I tell them. I say, for me, what I do, I look at Holly as another alert. Okay. Another alert that is optimized and has statistical probability in your favor, so that obviously gives it a little extra attention. But at the same time, I'm always looking at daily chart patterns, and a lot of times I see Holly take a trade, and even though its probability of success is high, I don't like it on the chart. I say, well, no, I don't like it here. Now, if it gets here, and then I'll put an alert in. Or do something. But the point I'm making is, don't feel like first of all, don't feel like you have to be automated, and set up to trade Holly. And a lot of times, guys, you can actually get better prices than Holly gets by putting in bids or letting it come down to levels which you like, or being patient and waiting for it to break out. Sometimes you may have to pay a little bit higher, but sometimes that patience can benefit. So treat it like an alert. It's great. It's a great alert mechanism, so alerting mechanism. Don't you think, Jamie?
Yeah. And I'll add one layer to that, because I can see the questions, and people are like, well, can Holly predict what's going to happen in the next hour, or can Holly do this and can Holly do that? Well, just real quick here, what Holly is, where are these strategies coming from? The ones that show up tomorrow, where do they come from? Well, just so everybody has kind of a high-level overview, for those of you who might be new out there, Holly's got a base of it'll fluctuate between 45 and 50 long and short strategies. And these are strategies that backtest fairly well over a 40 trading day period, but they're huge. They're like, over a 40 trading day period, you might have 40,000 trades come through there. Well, that's like trying to take a sip out of the fire hose. So what Holly does is, after we incorporate all of today's tick data in from today's session, she will reanalyze those strategies and see if she can improve upon them. And only the ones out of those 45 to 50 base strategies that meet the minimum score on our proprietary scoring system will make the cut for tomorrow. All right, so that's how the strategies show up. Now, each and every one of these strategies is a very, very, very specific configuration string, typically with one alert or catalyst, and it could be a very complex filter set of up to 60 filters. Now, those filters work in all or none, so they're very precise. So we set the framework up for the next session. If these things happen, they're going to show up. And that's the way it works. So only the pieces that fit into the holes that we've set up will show up. It's very specific. So if things don't trigger, it's simply because that certain animal did not want to make an appearance that day. I hope that makes sense.
It does, Jamie, and we're getting some few questions about setup and stuff like that. So yeah, I really want to spend some time on that. So guys, I'm sorry, we're going to have to move forward. Regarding Holly, trust me, we do 4 webinars a week, and we spend a lot of time on Holly. So there'll be much more to come, and plus we'll be spending some time on that in the open house next week. So. Jamie, if you wouldn't mind picking it.
For the open house people, just keep in mind, since we have so many people, the support for open house participants is going to be in the trading room under the technical support tab. That's where all the people for the open house can go to get their questions answered during market hours. Right, Andy?
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Great place, great hangout.
So you've prepared some additional goodies for us today. Is that right, Andy?
Yeah. Some basic trade ideas 101. Trade ideas out of the box. I think it's going to really help people that going into the open house to to figure out what our software, and I shouldn't say Holly, is all about, and how to really access some of the alerts really quickly. And even Holly, I saw somebody asking me how do we set up Holly? Well, I'm gonna show you. And uh, as he passes it back over to me,
But the baton has been passed.
yeah, can you see yet?
Yes, very good.
All right, perfect. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I actually created this morning, a layout called Out of the Box. I think I did. There it is. And look, it's very simple. And a lot of times, guys, this is what you're going to get when you download the software. And the main thing to find is this toolbar. And in most cases, it's going to be somewhere like probably in the corner of one of your monitors. All right? So what you're going to do, guys, when you get this, don't freak out. I see a lot of people like, oh, man, I just downloaded it. Oh, I got this little bitty box. Okay? That little bitty box is your toolbar. Okay? And that's where all the action is initiated from. You can do almost everything in that little bitty toolbar. Now, if you want to, just grab it by the borders, stretch it out a little bit. Make sure you see the, why am I not able to grab? There it is. Well, even if you can't grab this lower, there it goes. Grab that lower border. Make sure you got a nice signal line. And for some reason, I am experiencing a little bit of latency today. I'm not sure what's going on. It hasn't been that way until I started my webinar. But anyway, you want to see this green connection line. And that tells you you're connected. Okay, if you're not, you might want to go to pull it out a little bit more until you see account. Go to account, reset connection. All right. Now, everything can pretty much be launched from the new tab up here. I mean, everything. So if you just click that new tab and just find the channel bar, that's all you got to do. Okay, once you find that channel bar, we have 25 channels to choose from, and we just added a new one yesterday called Alpha Predator. Okay, so you can go through these channels. You can click on any one. Somebody mentioned how to set up Holly. Well, look here, we have a Holly AI channel. You can just click on that, and it's going to pull up Holly for you. And there it is, and like I said, I got a little bit of latency here, and it's just my connection. Sorry about that, but so there you go, and now you have Holly. You want to go to any other channels? Just maybe you want to see what's happening in volume. You want to see some alerts, or some of our pre-configured alerts that we have in our channels. You can just go to the volume channel. This volume radar happens to be a very, very popular alert, and what it is, it's what we call a top list, and I'll go over top list here in a minute. But basically, it's just looking for stocks that are doing, huge volume. Okay, you can see the volume in the 5-minute right here. Okay, that's percentage of increase in volume in the 5-minute time frame. You have the 30-minute time frame percentage increase in volume. Right now, it's sorted by change in the 5 minutes, so you can catch the ones that are on the move most recently. Okay, you can actually, these are what we call our columns. Okay, and you can sort by pretty much by any column. Say you want to see relative volume today. Double click on relative volume. It's going to show you the ones that are highest on relative volume. So really easy to use if you want to find some alerts right out of the box. You can go over to what I'm on Surge, and you can pull up this channel. And you can find alerts just right here on our 25 channels. Alpha Predator. Once again, you're immediately right out of the box with just 2 steps. You're clicking new, and you're clicking channel bar, and then you have access to so many of our some of our better alerts, some of our best alerts, and you can go through active trading. So I'm just showing you what you can do just right as soon as you get the product downloaded. All right, now, still, when you get into some of the deeper things, it can become kind of daunting at times. And like I said, it is a powerful tool, and you will learn how to build alerts over time, how to build top list. It's not going to take you as long as you think, but I'm just going to real quickly show you, if you wanted to experiment around during that first week on building your own alert. And it's not that complicated. I go through a lot of this stuff when we do our one-on-one sessions. The first thing you want to do is go to Tools, go to Options, and make sure this appearance, this bottom box is checked where it says Use Advanced Config Window, and then hit Save. And then you're able to go into the advanced portion, mess around with alerts, filters, columns, and all that. Okay, once you do that, it's very simple. I'm just going to real quickly, I'm going to build just a momentum alert for you. Okay, and once again, everything can be launched in the New tab. So you go New tab, Alert Window. So now you're ready to go with the configuration. First thing you want to do when you're building one from scratch is you want to start from scratch. So you want to highlight it, load settings. That little orange arrow right there will let you know that everything's been wiped clean. You're ready to go building your own alert. And then basically all you do is you kind of work from left to right across these tabs to build it. And you're going to find out this search function is so helpful because we do have a lot of alerts and filters to choose from. Anything you see with a white background is what we call an alert. Anything with a colored background is what we call a filter. You're saying, what's the difference between an alert and a filter? Well, it's very easy. An alert is an event. Okay, you need something to basically document a timestamp and a price. So it has to be an event like a new high, a new low, a 25% pullback from highs. Something that triggers a price and a timestamp. Okay, whereas a filter is just something you use to define your parameters. It's basically, it can be used to refine your alert, or it can be used to build a top list. And we'll get into that in a minute. Then you just work straight across. Okay, we're going to build like a regular, using the search terms. You're going to find yourself using this a lot. So say if I'm looking for gaps, stocks that are gapping up. I can type in gap. It pulls up 4 alerts, 4 filters that are associated with the word gap. Okay, we're just going to build a regular high. So I'm going to type in high. Okay, there's new high. Highlight it. Add alert. Make sure you check the box. This box over here is if you were looking for like a 5-day high, maybe a 20-day high, whatever value you put in there, okay, the stock would have to be hitting that value for it to come through your alert. Okay, Windows-specific filters, this is where, like I said, you refine your alerts. This is where you basically build your parameters on what you want to see. I always start out with a few basics. One of them's being price. Say you want to start out with price $5 to $100. Next, I like to find average daily volume because I don't know about you, but I don't like playing stocks that only do 50 or 60,000 shares a day. So what can I do? I can go back to the search function. I can type in daily volume. And there it is before I even finish with it. I can select this and average daily volume, and on a, I'm sorry, look, keeping an eye on the time over here. On a 10-day, you got 5-day, 10-day, 3-month. Add filter, and I'm just going to put 250,000 shares in here. Next thing you might want to do if you want to play stocks that are moving to highs, you maybe want to I want to know if the stock's up on the day or not, and then not trade something that's actually down and just has a bounce, you know, gap down and maybe having a bounce. So I want to see it positive today. Very easy. Change from the close. I'm going to put 0.01, and basically you're telling the system here that you do not want to see anything unless it's 0.01% above the change from the close. So as you're building this, you just think of things that you want to see in your head. You know, picture a chart and a chart that you might like to find momentum on, or find stocks that you may be interested in buying that are hitting highs, and then you just start looking through the filters and adding things that you'd like. Okay, one thing we're big on a lot of the community is what we call alpha, finding stocks that have, you know, volume coming in and potential movement. A way to do that is volume in the 5-minute. Okay, I want to see 500% increase at least in volume in a 5-minute time frame. we have a little show me button here. Guys, if you ever don't know what you're doing, I mean, you're confused about what it means, just hit this little show me button. It's going to pull up in words and tell you exactly what you did. The volume in the last 5 minutes is at least 500% of normal. Okay, you said okay. So this is actually a pretty decent alert, just on its own merits. You'd think it would need more, and then you could actually add more, and maybe I will if I have time to show you how to do that. And then you just go through exchanges. You make sure your top 4 major changes are all checked. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on symbol lists right now because it's a little bit more advanced, but you can create your own symbol list. You could add new symbol lists, but like I said, I don't want to spend the time on that. You move over to columns. You create your column that you want to see going on the top of your alert window. I know volume in 5 minutes has to be at least 500%, but I want to see what it is. I want to see what 1 minute volume is, maybe. And I want to see what float is, and I don't see it in here, so what I'm going to do is go back to my search function, type in float. I already see it there, shares, and now I'm not adding a filter, I'm actually showing column. And it'll put it over there for you. So we move over to summary, we see what we did, we name this, let's just name this Momo, and hit alert. And we just built an alert. I mean, right there, you'll find yourself, you're able to do this, within probably the first couple of days. And you build it, you want to see what come through, you can go through history, put it on today, it will start spitting out all the stocks that came through here that are meeting all the parameters you set in there. Quite a few coming through. Okay, say you're working on it and you say, gosh, I like this, but I don't like the amount of, stock coming through. There's way too many alerts coming through here. Well, let's go back. Go back to the configuration. How can I refine this even more? Well, why don't I do this? Why don't I go back to my search window and let me find something maybe in a 20-day range. Ah, there we go. Position in 20-day range. I like the sound of that. So I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to add filter. Now all ranges go from 0 to 100%. 0 being the low of that range, 100 being the high of that range. Okay, so if I'm looking for stocks maybe that are about to break out of a range or at least close to a 20-day high, maybe I would go in here and put position in 20-day range. I don't want to see anything unless it's, 95% off the low end of that range, which means it has to be at least 5% within a 20-day high. So you can see, you just kind of use your God-given talents as far as trading and your mind, and you can. And it's amazing what you can do, and you start creating, start playing around with these alerts, and really working with them. So just by doing that, I probably eliminate half of them. So I'm gonna hit OK. I've altered it, so hit OK. Go back. Let's go back to history and put it back on today. And I guarantee you I got a lot more. And you're going to see once you start going through here that you're going to find some pretty good alerts going off this morning. Let's see. But anyway, I'm not in this today to build a killer alerts. I kind of wanted to show you what you can do, how easy it is to work with these alerts and build them. So the main thing I want you to take from this, guys, is I wanted you to be able at least to go into an alert window and start playing around with it a little bit, playing around with the configurations. But I want you to know that when you do fire up, download the product for the first time, that you'll be able to, once again, go in here, pull up a channel bar, real easy to do. Just go to the new tab and pull up a channel bar, and you'll be off and running and seeing alerts. And once again, you can go to Holly AI. And I love this. When I'm doing a lot of my sessions, I actually use this Holly template, I call it, for a default layout, because you can take this this Holly template, and then you could start building around that. Unfortunately, I don't have time to get in that today, but what you can start doing, you can start saving alerts from other channels and then bringing them over to this template and adding it to it, and then just save it as your default layout. But that's probably another another webinar. What I did want to spend time with was to just basically show you guys how to operate this thing when you pull it out of a box. And I'm sure Jamie probably has something to add that I missed. Is there anything else, Jamie, that you think will really be helpful when they first open the product up and start working with? Maybe something that you've come across quite a bit? Or?
Well, not to oversimplify it, but the search field is really good because not only can you quickly type in a search string to reduce that universe of alerts and filters down, but it's always a good idea to familiarize yourself with everything that's in there, so you can easily click on those guys, hit help. That's going to take you to the website. It's going to give you the exact definition.
Oh yes, thank you.
Or filter is doing, right? So that you're not going, well, this sounds cool, but I have no idea what it is. We try to make it as easy as possible to get all the basic stuff like definitions, any formulas that might be in use in that alert or filter. So being able to do that is invaluable. And then as you said, the show me icon, another huge time saver because not to beat this horse too much, but the filters are all or none. So how many times have we gotten the email, Andy, of somebody that has a window and they're like, I know this stock should have come through here today, but it didn't. And of course the pattern of all the other stocks looks identical, so it looks like that guy, right? But sure enough, what do? You start picking that filter set apart, and guess what? One of the filters just barely didn't get met. Maybe you had a maximum price of $50. Well, that stock was 50.01 when it happened. Or maybe you had average daily volume of 500,000, but guess what? That stock usually only does 480,000 shares a day. So, there's a very fine line there. So by saving you, because remember, Andy, we had to go through all of this before all this functionality was even in existence. Remember?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
So all of these things that we built in to make people's lives easier is because we had it. We had to do it before that was invented. Remember when there was no history? We had to make new things and go, well, I think that this is going to show me stocks doing this. And then you even had to waste time in the trading day going, well, this thing's good, or wad it up, time to go back to the drawing board, and now the history lets us do all of that when the market's not open. So a lot of little things that you and I take for granted, but can really save users a lot of time getting over that learning curve.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up because I can show you guys once again, because I had it in my notes here and I just totally spaced it. But say you come across something you're not sure what it, relative volume, okay? And you're like, gosh, what is relative volume? We have a help button down here, okay? When you're looking through all the I'm in a top list, so we don't see filters, but if you could do the same for alerts. But you can click on this little help button. It's going to pull up a document page and pretty much just spell it out for you what that filter means or alert, whatever you're pulling up at the time. And pardon the slowness here. I got so much crap running on my computer right now. I need to start clearing some of that out. So relative volume. Okay, so just kind of, a document page is going to tell you pretty much in detail, what it means. So that's a great little feature. So there's just tons of places to go to get help. And somebody mentioned the trading room. Do I need to log? Yes, it's a separate login for the trading room. It's not actually a part of the Trade Ideas platform. Okay, it's you can launch it. You can get to it. Let me close this. You can get to it by the channel bar. Oh, by the way, if you want to see Barry's windows, you can see Barry's layouts. So you can. It's great stuff. I mean, so you can go straight to Barry's, pretty much his layout and his alerts that he uses. Live trading room, you just click on the live, go to there. Now, if you don't have the software, obviously you're going to have to you can access this on our website. But yeah, you're going to need to go in, and it's not the same username and login as your Trade Ideas platform. You're going to need to create a username and a password. Make sure you fill out there's a little puzzle you're going to have to do once you hit log in to make sure you're not a robot. But just make sure you go through the steps to log in, and you shouldn't have any problem. I see almost 600 people in there every day that gets in there. So, but yeah, you will have to go and create a login. So with that being said, let's move on, because I'm going to bring Scott in here. Unless Jamie, you had something to add.
I think you covered it pretty thoroughly. Of course, hey, we could keep on going and going, but unfortunately, we're just about out of time here.
Exactly. And guys, I plan on, or in the future, spending a little more time on some of the basics. We do have a tendency. A lot of our old school guys in here, and we do appreciate them for sure. They like to get a lot of the new bells and whistles, the alerts that we configure, and we'll always do that. But we'll also spend some time, try to allocate some time for the people who are new and just getting a grasp of the software. But before we move on, and Scott's going to come in here and tell you more about our open house, and also give you probably a discount on a subscription. I do want to tell you about our exceptional support and education here, okay? Just like in these webinars, guys, we want to help you. We want to get you working with the product as quickly as we can, because we know once you get a grasp of the product and start working with it, it's going to help you with your trading. So we offer 4 webinars throughout the week, all of them in the same time slot, 5 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Thursday. And it's usually a combination of Steve, Jamie, and myself on 3 of those webinars, each one of us hosting at a different time. And then on Wednesdays, we have the CEO, Dan Merkin, and Brad Williams come in here, and they do a Q&A demo, and we'll show off some of the stuff as well. So plenty of help throughout the week in webinars, and our daily trading room, moderated by Barry. If you haven't been in there, you need to get in there. It's a great community. This is an old screenshot here, because right now we have probably closer to 600 traders in there daily. There's some great traders in there. You will hear Barry on audio as he navigates the market, how he trades live using our software. It's a great place, and it's free. It's free for everybody. So take advantage of that. And not only that, guys, when you do subscribe, you get a one-on-one training. This is a $99 value. Okay. And the reason we say it's a $99 value, because we have plenty of people that after they take it, they want to take more and learn more, not only about the software, but about help mentoring and coaching and trading. So it's 1 hour of our time we spend with you, helping you with the software, sharing our alerts with you, setting up a default layout with you. It's time served to help you. Whatever you want to do in this hour, we will do it. And it's just a great little addition we have when you subscribe to Trade Ideas. And with that said, I'm going to bring in Scott, tell you a little bit more about the open house, and a little bit more about how you can subscribe today.
Yeah.
Scotty?
Yeah, thank you. So we got a couple things going on as you forward to the next slide. We've launched a podcast. We did a soft launch back in December, and now we're several episodes in. I think this Friday is going to be 6 official episodes plus 2 more special episodes we've let out for a total of 8 starting tomorrow. So just search for the Trade Ideas podcast in iTunes, in Stitcher, in Overcast, whatever your preferred podcast app is. Just search for Trade Ideas podcast. You'll find it, and subscribe. And then you get the newest episodes. They're usually about 10 to 15 minutes, and they're great to listen to. You should also go back to the archives and pull up those special episodes for some really great insight about the beginnings of Trade Ideas and our how we develop our technology. It's real inside baseball, but very interesting stuff. So we'll see what Dan and Jamie have in store for us tomorrow. So if you subscribe to it today, tomorrow afternoon, sometime around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, there'd be a new episode in your phone for you to listen to through your ears. Pop in those earbuds, go for a walk. And then also, starting next week, we have the open house. We're still enrolling people for the open house. We're going to let you sign up through next Wednesday, but and you will get 5 days even if you sign up on Wednesday. So if you sign up on Wednesday next week, it will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday instead of Monday through Friday next week. But we do suggest everyone should register for this before Monday so that you get the full week, because we're going to be paying a lot of attention to the trial users in our trading room, and we'll be covering a lot of ground on the webinars next week as well. It's cost $8, but that's to cover our exchange fees and also the added just load for our support staff and everything, and also to make sure that the people registering are actually truly interested in logging in and trying it out. It's trade-ideas.com/open house is where to go to sign up for that. We're inviting not just the non-subscribers, but also our standard subscribers to try out the premium version of Trade Ideas. You'll have complete access to everything the premium subscribers have access to for the duration of the open house for 5 days. And you'll be able to try out our artificial intelligence Holly, as well as the price alerts, all the advanced stuff. It's a great thing. We did a couple of these last year, and they were very successful, and we had fantastic feedback from them. It's kind of we get it asked a lot about previews, and to give someone a preview for free of real-time data, it's not really something we are going to do on a regular basis. That's why we're doing these, and we do charge a little for it, but we have exchange fees to deal with and all that kind of stuff. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone in the open house. And it should be pretty exciting around the trading room next week. There's also a handout in your handouts panel. If you go to your webinar interface and click on the little plus next to handouts there, you can download some of this information. PDF is available for you there, including the price sheet here that has the code Jumpstart, all caps. And that's something you can do today if you decide you want to go ahead and subscribe right now. If you don't even need the open house trial, just do this. Just go to trade-ideas.com/price and use that code to subscribe to either standard or premium. It'll save you 15% off the first month or year of premium, or 10% off the first month or year of standard. So we're looking forward to seeing some more subscribers take advantage of this. Again, the primary difference between the two, standard and premium, is the AI and access to our advanced new features like the price alerts and RBI, GBI windows, unlimited backtesting using our event-based backtesting module, the odds maker, all that good stuff. However, both, even standard, come with a full hour of one-on-one training. So when you do become a subscriber, go straight to support, click on training, and pick the best time and date with your preferred trainer, and that gives you the best head start possible. Thanks everyone for attending. We'll get the recording up later tonight, and you get an email reminder about where to find it tomorrow. Any questions, the best email address to send the questions to is info@trade-ideas.com. That goes directly into our help desk software, and we route it to the appropriate team member who will have the best answer for you. You can also call our 619 number if you have billing or subscription questions. Follow us on Facebook. The facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro is where we're located on Facebook, and by liking our page and following us there, you'll get some additional information we don't post elsewhere. And in addition to that, you'll be able to share it with your friends on Facebook and bring them into the Trade Ideas family as well. You can follow Steve Gomez, one of our trainers, at Today Trader on Twitter. Jamie Hodge is at QuantBot. He was there at today's webinar. Follow his wisdom there. Dan Merkin, our CEO, is Trade Ideas 1 on Twitter, and we also have at Trade Ideas. So, follow us on all of our social media so you don't miss anything, and share the love. We'll be seeing you guys next week in the open house. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Andy. Everyone have a great weekend, and we will see you in the rooms next week.
Thanks,
Yes,
Scott.
indeed.
Thanks, everybody.
I'll see you tomorrow, sir.
All righty. Bye-bye, guys.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.